Ladies and gentlemen, please get your Please sit down, get quiet. Quiet, please. Thank you. If right in tense. So please turn on scroll. Much as to motivate you, one third of the marks go towards the group. When I mark the groups, I deduct marks if you just write down formulas. Yes, the question was asked in class, I want the full-blown proof. So you must explain to me what you are doing as in the book. Yes, so give the recurrence relation and then say what it is. You cannot just summarize it there because it's in the book. And once you learn or once you memorize the words, actually you understand better why the proof is progressing as it is. Right? So all in all, people mostly either 0 or 5 out of 8 or 8 out of 8, roughly speaking. Those who got 5 out of 8, you get all the formulas right, but you have these gaps. It was quite strange that there were these gaps in the proofs, and then miraculously, swinging a wand, I get to the right formula again down here. So you'll notice that I threw a magic wand. So And you lose marks for things like that. Yes, because you should follow the logic of the proof, not just the maths. Right, okay. That's test 2. I assume you are all good and ready for 6 o'clock this afternoon. Before 6 o'clock this afternoon to submit your project 1. Are there any major problems, administratively speaking, that I need to know about? Follow the specs. You got the email. If you don't follow the instructions, and I can't mark with my script, I reserve the right to, because I'm a nice person. Some people say I am a nice person. I will remark you, but your mark is capped at 50%. So if you give me an output file that's different from the output file as specified in the specs, oh, my script can't mark. Okay? So then I will ask Adele, please waste your time, because one of the second years again did not follow instructions, so now you have to spend extra time marking this, and they are also studying and they're very busy. So they will remark, but then I cap you at 50%, which I think is fair. Okay, did anybody have a miraculous hard disk crash somewhere along the line? The nice thing about it regularly, at least you always are assured that something is there. So it's not all dependent on your local laptop and so on. You know that thing must run in NARCA. If you did it on your Windows laptop and it doesn't want to run in NARCA, I throw my hands in the air. Must be able to run without a GUI, so that I can run my scripts. Which means if you're eclipsing, just make sure that you have a version that doesn't necessarily have all that project stuff which kills the command line. Yeah. I'm all right. I'm happy. Good. And I'm even more happy because we built a binary search tree, if you remember correctly. And this was so great because with the binary search tree, we said the search hits on average is linear arithmetic, 2 linear. And the insertion, search hits and search hits require that many compares. In a binary search tree, we know that the insertions also is linear arithmetic. But I am a greedy person, and I want to make that linear arithmetic even better. So you know that linear arithmetic is slightly more expensive than logarithmic, right? So I have that constant over there. Can I get rid of that constant? Can I make it logarithmic? And the answer is yes. And the thing we're going to do, and this is so neat. Why do we have that linear arithmetic? The linear arithmetic comes in the binary search tree. Comes from the fact that on average, with random input tree is almost balanced, but not quite. Yes. So you cannot guarantee that even n nodes I have exactly log n levels in the binary tree. Okay. So the fact that I cannot guarantee that means that on average I'm slightly more expensive than logarithms. And the other problem with the binary search tree is it's dependent on the input data. Yeah. So you remember that I can actually get a degenerate binary search tree that looks like a linked list. It just goes to the one side. So that's why we say, well, let's randomize the input. But you have to keep in mind that randomizing the input might be expensive. So if I feed my binary search tree an ordered class list, I know it will be terrible to search in it. So what do we have to do? Search tree that is logarithmically guaranteed for both inserts and for searches, and we want it independent of the input data. Because then I save time on that whole randomization process. And this is the neatest thing imaginable. We are going to build something called a 2-3 search tree. A 2-3 search tree is an abstract concept. So it's a picture that we go on. Implementation of a 2-3 search tree. Now, what's so great about the 2-3 search tree? It is guaranteed to be always balanced. It's always balanced. Never insert and of the input data, I can input data. Okay. So, after all that yabbity yap, what does a very concept, and it doesn't always make people think about this. But how is because it's very hard, it works. It's mathematically it's something else. But okay. So a 2-3 search tree is the following structure. It is the same as a binary search tree, but some of the nodes are normal search tree nodes. I have a single, I have 2 links going out of it, just like in a binary search tree. But there are some nodes where I may keep 2 values, 3 links out of that single node. Some nodes have 2 links, some nodes have 3 links, therefore a 2-3 search tree. Okay. What does this mean? In a 2-node, the meaning is exactly the same as in a binary search tree. It's some airflow. This means that I am currently at M, the node to the right is larger, the node to the left is smaller. Equals. Yes, P is, for a moment I thought P is larger than R, but okay, it's not. But what is, so that's the standard thing. You'll notice if a 2 node has a link to a 3 node, elements in the 3 node conforms to the condition of being smaller than or being larger than. Right? So over here I have an R, I have a 3 node on the right hand side with an S and an X in it. S is bigger than R and X is bigger than R. So the smaller than or greater than must hold for both the elements in the node. It's a 3. Okay, but then if I have the lengths from a 3 node, what does it mean? The left node of the node to the left link of a 3 node points to a node where all the elements are less than the first element in the 3 node. So this is less than, the one on the right is bigger than, and the one in the middle has a value between the 2 elements in the 3 nodes. So I have EJ, A and C on the left hand side, both A and C are smaller than E, L, J, and X in the middle. So it's smaller, middle, larger. Very simple difference. But this difference will allow us to do insertion, to do search hit and search miss logarithmically. And it will help us to insert logarithms. Insertions will always just be the right. Now, if you think about this in a gut feeling kind of way, if this were a normal binary search tree and I'm just looking at R, S, and X, if this was a normal binary search tree, I would have needed another level to store this, right? I would have needed M as the root, R 1 level down, S 1 level down, and X 1 level down. So that 3 nodes sort of would have split down into another level. Okay, but now since I can have more than one element in the node, I can keep the levels more balanced. That is it. But it makes sense. And we will prove mathematically that that thing is always balanced. Always balanced, meaning for n nodes, I have log n levels. Right. So let's just see what a search looks like now. The search is slightly more complex, but it's an extra if. Yeah. So for the binary search tree, I have is this key less than, then I go to the left. Is it greater than, then I go to the right. And now I have an extra element which says else I'm in the middle. I'm the left or right, else I'm in the middle. Okay. So let's try to look at a search. I'm on page 425. Here is an example of a tree. I'm going to search for H. How do I do it? I go to M. H is less than M, so I go to the left. I get a 3 node, and I see that H is not less than E. H is not bigger than J, so H must be in the middle. Now follow the link, and there we are. The search hit. If you want an example of a search miss, let's look for B in this very same tree. B is less than M, B is less than E. B is not less than A, it's not greater than C, so it must be in the middle, so that link, but that link is null, so B is not the tree. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's very easy. on this level, and you can also already think of what would the code look like. The code is literally if then something else, if then something else. So there's one extra condition in the if. Okay. Now, this is all very good and easy if we already have a tree, but what can I do to insert? When does a node say a 2 node? When does it become a 3 node? How does it work? So let's look at an example. Suppose I want to insert k in this tree on page 425. K is less than m. Right? So I get to the 3 node ej. Right? And you've got k is greater than j, so k has to go to the right-hand side. But the L is already there. So we would have, if this were a normal binary search tree, I would have added the k to the left of L, which would have increased my levels by 1. So I go top down and it increases the levels.
Why would it not go to the H? Because it's also technically on the...
Because A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So K is bigger than J, so it must go to the right. When I look through these examples, I keep on repeating the ABC song. Yes.
What do we want to insert B? How do you do it with the 2 node?
Aha! That's the next diagram. So keep that one for the moment. We'll get there just now. So normally, just listen to this for a second. Normally, when we insert in a binary, a normal binary search tree, yes, not the 2, 3, 1, the normal one, I go from the top to the bottom and I insert somewhere which will increase my levels unless it's this very handy left link that's empty and the right link wasn't there. So normally you go from the top to the bottom in the binary search tree. In a certain sense, you do the same thing here, but instead of increasing the number 1, I'm going to make it 3 that keeps the number of levels intact. Okay. So in a certain sense, I wanted to put the
that makes this, there's nothing that can go between K and L.
That's also true. You may where there is something in the middle. You may have a case where this link will always be null. It's the same as a binary search tree. If I end up at left at the bottom, that must be an A, right? Because that is the smallest node in the tree, and it will have 2 links, but they'll both be null. And so some of I not have some of one. Others might have a lot of space in. So it depends, in a certain sense, on how the data was read. So it depends on the input data, but the input data cannot influence the number of levels in the tree. So one null link doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Good? Okay. So what I did was I got to the bottom, I saw I actually had to insert a K that would have, in a normal binary search, made an extra level. So I add that into the existing node to make that 2 node a 3 node. Okay, and that did not increase the number of levels. Of course, this will work, but what if I end up with something like this on page 46? I have an existing 3 node, and now I want to insert something into the 3 node. Well, that is impossible, so I'll have to increase the number of levels. So I'm back. So how does you create a temporary 4 node by inserting? In this case, I have a 3 node. My whole tree consists of a 3 node with A and E in it. I want to insert S, so that has got to go to the right. I can do that, yes, and make a little S over here. But the technique that preserves balance is the following. We make a temporary 4 node with the same principle. Everything to the left of, everything to the right of, everything between A and E, and everything between E and S. So that's a temporary 4 node. And then when we finish the insertion, we see whether we can actually bump up ones so that I can remove the 4 node. So what will happen with insertions in a binary search tree is I start from the top, I go to the bottom, and at the correct place I insert a node. With the 2-3 tree, you go to the point where you insert, you do your insertion, but if the insertion caused a 4 node, push middle value of the 4 node 1 level up. Now, if you keep on doing this, it should make sense to you that you can increase the level of the tree at most by 1 at the root. So you do it from the bottom. So the insertion in a 2-3 tree may cause a 4 node. That 4 node is split again, allowed to 3 nodes, and that may, in the end, add 1 level right at the root. In the worst case, it may increase the level of the tree by 1, but what does it do by pushing from the bottom upwards? It keeps my balance. I did increase the level by 1, but I did not make the tree unbalanced, because if you do it from the Mars yourself, you get these, like you have a carpet with these loose pieces of wool. That's a frying in Afrikaans, a very nice word. What's that in English? What do you call the stuff that's a side of a carpet? Say it again? Tassels. Sort of. I was looking for a more negative. So you keep on having these things at the bottom that can split down and fray out. Yes. With the 2-3 tree, and that breaks the balance. Yes. So if in a binary search tree, for example, my input is fairly randomized, but I can still get JIK incidentally in the middle of the random input, and then it would do this. Just for that step, but it will do that. Now, if we, when always has perfect balance. We try to start with the 2, 3, 3. We find our place where we want to insert, and then from the bottom down, if we get a 4 node, we push up. And that push up can make a 2 node a 3 node. If that push up causes a 2 node to be good, I didn't influence the balance of it. Yes. But because the bottom part was balanced anyway, and now I move those temporary 4 nodes to the top. Look at the pictures, look at the examples. This bottom-up push of the extra value keeps the balance in the 2, 3. Because the moment I hit the 2 node, I can just extra value there as I'm pushing up. If I 4 node, I can push up to the next. And worst case is that I push my root up one. So I did increase the level. I don't have these triangles at the moment. Few cups of water, I don't know. These things that do this. Okay, does that make sense? So keep that in the back of your mind, and then you can look at all the insertion code. Right? So for example, I want to insert Z, so that will I already have the 3 node in the bottom. So I can't insert it here. So I make a temporary 4, push the middle value 1 up, and look at that. In a normal binary search tree, I would have had this little frame over here with the just this thing that I keep an interval instead of less than greater than, and that can actually keep my balance. So the thing is, if I insert into a binary search tree, I get these things at the bottom. So the tree becomes more and more unbalanced potentially. With the 2, 3 search to keep my balance, I may, in the worst case, increase the number of levels by 1, but I keep my perfect balance.
Can I just duplicate elements add?
Well, no, it's a big issue. Just like with sorting, duplicate elements is a big issue. And so, I would suggest you look at the exercises at the end of 3.2 and 3.3 and check what they say about duplicates. Think of find replace in, I didn't say that, Microsoft Word. Control F. Right? If you're on a Mac, it's Command F, which is better, much better. So then you do a find, yes, which means you searched for the first occurrence of something. But when you say find next, you have a portion of the work that has already been done. So you search from that point onwards for the next occurrence. So in a certain sense, if you think of it in a graph sense, you finished one subtree, now you're looking at the other one, and so on. So it's a It depends on the application, what you want to do in your search. If you want to find all occurrences, well, you are basically looking at. However, some of your data structures may allow duplicate values and some may not. You can think, this is a beautiful test question. Can I or can I not insert duplicate values into a 233 and how would it influence? Well, it's beautiful. You already know the answer, you just don't know that you know the answer. Suppose I can, right? So let's insert another A. Go to the left, go to the left. I need to go to the left. Depending on whether your algorithm says less or less than equal. Right? I find that links two nodes with duplicate node elements in them, you would just have to be a bit careful when you implement your if then else. If you get a two node with duplicate elements, EE over here, my middle link would always be null, would be everything less than E, my right link would be everything greater than E. So you just have to look at the code where you do the actual comparison on the values, that you just get your equal to or strictly less than 1. Your mathematical analysis on the cost might be slightly different. So split. Well, suppose I make a temporary for node and then I push up the middle element to the top part. So you just have to be careful that you actually, the splitting of the temporary for node, that you consider all possibilities and make sure that you do it right. So let's just look, suppose I just have a root node. Well, then splitting this for node into 2 nodes is very easy. I push up the middle one. Right? If my parent is a 2 node, my splitting means I push the middle one up and I create a 3 node where it was previously a 2 node. Okay, and the same on this side, but be careful where you push that middle value over here. If your parent is a 2 node, but you are to the left of your parent, that middle thing pushes to the left. And if hand side, this middle thing pushes to the right. Okay, in order to keep your order right. Okay. If my parent is already a 3 node, this is interesting. If my parent is a 3 node and I'm at the left, I push up to create a 4 node. Okay, and then the process recursively repeats. If I have the 3 node pushing up there, where does the C go? The C must go in the middle, and I end up with two nodes over here. This one, I would end up with a temporary 4 node with the middle one at the right. And there we have it. Proposition F, Miss Daly. This proof has is simple induction. Search and considering that you have only as between, at most. I'm not asking for exactly, I'm asking for at most, and now I can catch it. Let me show. It's a nice proof, just write it out on your own. You are more than welcome to send me your proof and I'll have a quick look if I'm happy with it. Right. This is very easy. It's just holding a 2, 3, 3. Aha! So conceptually, we got to this idea of a 2, 3, 3. But how are you going to implement it in Java? Just think of the abstract data type. How am I going to declare it? Am I going to and then I want temporary 4 nodes also, by the way. So am I going to make an object for 2 nodes, a separate object for 3 nodes, a separate object for... How the hell am I going to handle in Java? It's a mess. Conceptually, it's very easy, but to do the Java is a mess. So to do the implementation, we are going to define something which we call a red-black binary search tree. And the red-black tree, conceptually, is exactly a 2, 3, 3, but it allows a beautiful implementation, which is not a mess. Okay. So we're going to do the following. Suppose I have a 2, 3, 3, as on page 433. 2 nodes are fine. We know how to handle 2 nodes, right? But how do I implement a 3 node? And the answer is the following. I implement a 3 node by making 2 nodes and linking them with a specially colored link. As follows. M is a normal 2 node, so it works just like always. When I get a 3 node, I make the separate 2 nodes and I put a colored link between them, a red link. And a red link is not the same as a black link because a red link in a certain sense says, you know what, we are just forming this 3 node on the same level. That's why we write it horizontally. If we draw the picture, we draw it horizontally. And if you draw the thing like a binary search tree, you'll see it's not balanced. But if we draw it horizontally, you will see we keep our balance. So we're just going to have that red link between things to indicate that they are actually on the same level. And then this is what we get. You can declare a private class node with the key, the value, a node to the left or the right, an integer which just remember we keep the number of nodes in the subtree, right? You still remember that in the binary search tree, so we keep that element there. and then a color. And be very careful, if you look at the implementation, that link, the color of the link from the parent to this node. Because although we think of it as horizontal, so these two are on the same level, if you implement it as a binary search tree, clearly one of them has got to be the parent, right? So although we think of it, this situation as a 3-node with 2 elements, C and E. E is the parent of C in the binary search tree implementation. So that's why it says the color of the link from the parent to this node. So it's not the thing coming in from M to EJ that will be colored. We'll get M, J, E, and J is the parent of E, and then we put it. So we'll finish this tomorrow, and then we carry on to hashtag. Thank you very much. I look forward to getting your project. Don't be late. Don't be late. Please don't be late. I pulled those please 1 minute for 6. If you put it up there, 2 minutes for 6, I don't do.
That's it. How are you? Good, thanks. Yeah. I need that some sort of no, I think that's right. So for this one, I think this one. Yo, well, I did it like this, but I did
Yeah, that's it.
No, I know. Some agents
I don't want to.
the ones I looked No, it won't. Especially not And also have few exceptions. I didn't know about